my first price target for Jasmy in 2025 is 50 cents. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice nor a guarantee. But why do I think so? It's because I think that Jasmy is actually very special considering what market it's focused on. Because as we all know, there's a lot of hype as of right now for AI projects, for meme coins. And don't get me wrong, I love them. But I think oftentimes people ignore projects that are focused on the data storage market, which is what Jasmy exactly is. I mean, you take a look at, what does Jasmy focus on? They're focused on data democracy. Quite essentially, they're looking to decentralize data storage. Now, some people may be thinking data storage as of right now is fine. Why do we need decentralization? That's kind of caca. But no, I disagree, because if you take a look at it, centralized data storage as of right now arguably has a couple drawbacks. Like, for instance, typically controlled by a single entity. Usually there's these multiple single points of failures, and people don't really like that. They want to change, they want something different, and that's exactly where something like decentralization does step in and removes all of that, basically. So that's how amazing it is. Now, granted, is it going to take time for people to change towards decentralized data storage? Yes, of course. Is it going to happen overnight? Of course not. But I think that it's just a natural evolution. I mean, as of right now, do you see people, using horses on the street, primarily speaking? I'm not saying in some minor instances, I'm saying just, generally speaking, no, right? People usually use cars. And the reason for that is because people evolved with the times. It's just moving towards something that's more efficient. And I think eventually, down the line, people are going to understand, hey, decentralization, that's key for data storage. And, when that really kicks in, right? I think something like Jasmy is going to go along with the ride. And it's not like the data storage market is some small niche market that's not really worth that much. It's actually not true because, according to Fortune Business Insights, we take a look at how, the global data storage market size could be worth nearly $800 billion by 2030, which isn't even really that far away. I mean, we're nearing 2025, basically just a couple months away. So that's basically just 5 years away at this point. Kind of crazy to think about. That's bigger than some countries' GDP, keep in mind. So when it comes to Jasmy, it's clearly focused on the right market. It's trying to revolutionize that market. And I think the cherry on top when it comes to Jasmy is that it doesn't really have that many good competitors. Does it have, good competitors? Yes, but does it have that many? No, because people like to say, oh, there's so many competitors for Jasmy, it's not going to survive. That's not true. You take a look at who are the competitors for Jasmy, really? I mean, of course, there's JasmyCoin, there's Arweave, there's Filecoin. You take a look at storage. We have those, right? But really, other than that, the list kind of begins to fall off a cliff. I mean, it's just complete caca, really. Now, not in all cases, but in some cases. So when you take a look at that, focus on such an amazing market that really doesn't have that much attention, doesn't really have that many good competitors. So once that wave really kicks in, there isn't going to really be that many options anyways, right? Of course, again, you have those big players, but Jasmy has the strongest community. I would say arguably that, in terms of the brand name, so to speak, it's one of the most popular. So I don't see why it would have a bad probability to be chosen. And it's only natural that it has a higher probability to be chosen because when, there isn't that many options, of course, the ones that are available will have a higher likelihood to be picked. So that's just the way to take a look at it. I think Jasmy is very special. Now, is it a small project by any means? No, but I think that's kind of the key, right? I'm looking towards a project that really hasn't matured yet in a sense, like an Ethereum, for instance. And also on top of that, a project that's focused on the right market, which I think Jasmy is. Now, let's not forget, Jasmy, people often sometimes call it the Bitcoin of Japan. Now, why do they call it that? Because if you actually take a look at Jasmy, people often argue the reason why is because it's the first ever legally compliant cryptocurrency in the country of Japan, which is pretty much insane if you think about it in a good way, because in order to achieve something like that, especially in Japan, which I've been to Japan, by the way, it's a very nice place. But besides that, it's just not that easy. It's not like a walk in the park, something like that, right? It's different than a lot of other places. So I think that when it comes to this really does add, a good addition to Jasmy, because oftentimes people like to say that, oh, we want things to be unregulated, all this type of stuff. But to me, having regulation in a sense is not that bad because it gives clarity. It gives actual guidelines. I mean, just imagine if everything was like the Wild Wild West. That's kind of, a little bit, sketchy, I think, to some people. So, of course, something like Jasmy being legally compliant, especially in Japan, that's amazing. And, of course, being the first ever, that's just fantastic, in my opinion. Now, also, let's not forget its leadership is amazing because, as you all know, there's a lot of projects out there with amazing A+ fundamentals, but then the team is like complete trash. So then the project doesn't really go anywhere. But when it comes to Jasmy, that's not the case. You take a look at their team filled with many individuals who've had past work experience in major places. You take a look at Sony. You take a look at KPMG. I mean, it's just very impressive. Now, KPMG, of course, is one of the big four accounting firms. And of course, we all know Sony. So yeah, that's very amazing. From top to bottom, I think Jasmy just pretty much ticks all the boxes. Focus on the right market, amazing team, amazing fundamentals. I mean, what more can I ask for, right? When something is this fantastic at the price of, 50 cents as my first ever price target, as like, basically worst case scenario during this bull run, hypothetically speaking, of course, I don't see why not. And now with that being said, my next price target, or should I say my second price target, is Jasmy at the price of 75 cents. Which some people may think, okay, that's kind of crazy, man. Caralho. Boha. No, I disagree. Because if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point would be around $37 billion. Which isn't that bad, by the way, because first of all, we've seen Shiba Inu reach around like $40 billion in market cap. So it isn't crazy, what we're seeing. Also on top of that, we've seen like Dogecoin over double this. And I'm not joking. Dogecoin at one point did reach over $80 billion in market cap. So this is kind of like peanuts in the grand scheme of things. Now, some people may argue that, hey, it's not fair. You're comparing Jasmy to like meme coins. But in my opinion, for what it is, like for this context, I should say, it's not, unfair because I just wanted to showcase how in the world of cryptocurrencies, reaching like over $37 billion in market cap isn't this, unheard of thing. It's not like Jasmy is going to be the first ever in history to do that. No, that's not the case. We've seen meme coins do it. We've seen other projects like, that are far or less I think great, then Jasmy even far exceed this, so I don't think it's crazy at all. And again, at the price of 75 cents, I don't see why not, especially once that FOMO kicks in, the buying pressure, the buying volume, once things are just fully into fifth gear, I don't think it'd be crazy at all. Now, my next and final price target is, of course, Jasmy at the price of $1, which some people may think, oh man, this is, crazy, right? Like, 75 cents was insane, let alone $1. But I disagree because first of all, I think that this bull run is going to look very different than what we saw back in 2021 because people keep using that bull run and saying that, cryptos are never going to, exceed that, time and period. No, I disagree, man. This isn't like a rock band from the 80s or whatever, right? That's not going to make another hit single or whatever. No, that's not the case. When it comes to the world of cryptocurrencies, things are only just getting better, hypothetically, because you take a look at even back then, right? In 2021, during the peak of that bull run, they didn't really have that many institutional investors. And our price adoption wasn't really, the heights that we really see of today. And also on top of that, the amount of crypto owners was like way less. Back then, there was only around 300 million. Now, according to Crypto.com research, there's over 600 million. So you can only imagine that, like the added FOMO, buying pressure, buying volume. I mean, it's going to be insane. You also take a look at the Bitcoin ETF. That's fantastic. So with all that taken into consideration, as Bitcoin reaches new all-time highs, 100,000, 150,000, it's only fair to assume that altcoins, much like Jasmy, they're going to go along with the ride as well. And at that point, $1 wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, granted, is it going to happen like right now when I upload this? No, it takes some time, but it's actually not really that much time, historically speaking, from right now because, if we take a look at how typically altcoins, they peak anywhere between 6 to 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. Now, the Bitcoin halving event happened back in April, so actually 6 months as a historical best case scenario, that's actually just in October, which is just basically a couple days away. So it's actually not that much longer, but I think this is a little bit too optimistic. I don't think it's going to happen. And even historically speaking, this is a little bit too optimistic. So let's see we take like a middle ground approach, not 6 months, not 18 months, let's say a year. That's still April of 2025. But of course, it could happen like later, around October, of next year in 2025, historically speaking. Which is why, again, I titled this video 2025 price targets because I'm more so taking a look at 2025 as opposed to 2024. But even besides that, I think that, if anything, is a great sign because it's not like we have to wait like 4 years, from right now. I mean, just imagine if we're still in like 2021, near the end of it, then yeah, of course, it may seem like a while, but as of right now, we're nearing 2025, so it's not that bad. And if anything, if it happens like earlier, fine, because I accumulated, a lot of Jasmy. And I've been dollar cost averaging, I've been persistent. I've been, been giving up anything like that. I've just been staying consistent again with dollar cost averaging. Anytime I acquire income, holding and just waiting, that's it. But then let's say it happens like a little bit later, fine, because it's more time for me to accumulate. But no matter the time frame, my strategy is always the same. My buying strategy is dollar cost averaging. So anytime an income, I'm just acquiring, again, holding and just waiting. That's it. I'm not looking to day trade. I'm not looking to use leverage. I'm not looking to swing trade. I'm not looking to outsmart the market and draw random like triangles. I'm not trying to draw my underwear on a price chart, for instance, right? Even though I don't use that, if that makes sense. Or should I say I don't use G strings, right? But besides that, okay, we're getting a little bit off topic here, but I'm just saying, man, like, that's not my style. My style is just constant accumulation over an extended period of time. And again, around a year from right now, let's say, I think things could look so different because when I see a project this amazing, I don't want to give up. And Jasmy, again, at the price of $1, I don't see why not during this bull run. I think it could be so special. I think Jasmy is that amazing of a project, and I really can't wait. And make sure to subscribe if you gained value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.